Hello everyone. Topic: Extortion 17, the cover-up, the whistleblower. I'm going to provide a link in the description for my previous video where I lay out exactly what happened in Extortion 17 and why this is such a gigantic story. Today I want to focus on why this story has not yet surfaced. First of all, I again want to give a heads up to the fantastic YouTuber who actually was one of the first to break this story on YouTube. The Piper Report. If you are not subscribed to the Piper Report, I highly recommend you do so. He gives very, very good, reasoned political analysis, as well as he's very good in the area of the Federal Reserve, banking, finance, and things and such. Very good YouTuber. The Piper Report. Make sure you subscribe. So, I stumbled onto his YouTube video. He was one of the first ones to break this story. And so, Extortion 17, just a brief, I'm going to go through it briefly because I already did a video on the details of it. But essentially, Extortion 17 is a story about the shoot-down in 2011 of a Chinook helicopter, which was carrying 22 Special Operations soldiers and 7 or 8 Afghani Special Forces soldiers in Afghanistan. All of them were killed. And following this incident, the House Oversight Committee, headed by Jason Chaffetz, conducted a cover-up. They lied. And we know they lied because as the hearings were going on, after one of those hearings convened, the lawyer, Larry Klayman from Freedom Watch, along with this whistleblower, went right to his face and told him, hey, he said, this is my client. She was in that gunship that you say did not exist on that night. She's got the whole story. And we're going to be filing a lawsuit. Mr. Chaffetz did not even respond. He turned around and walked away. He knows he's in deep shit. So, basically this is the story. And I want to tell you why we probably haven't seen this story hit the mainstream or the network news, the cable news, or any of their sites on the internet. There's really two main reasons why I believe this story has not yet taken hold. Number one, on the part of the Republicans, they do not want this story coming out because, again, it reflects very badly on Jason Chaffetz and Republican members of that committee, on the Oversight Committee, that conducted the cover-up. It reflects very badly on the military-industrial complex, which they worship. It reflects very badly on the U.S. Army and the U.S. Navy, who they love. It reflects very badly on the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. And the only real so-called media organization on the right that we really have is Fox News. And of course we know Fox News worships at the altar of the military-industrial complex of the military. And so they really don't want to push this story. There's a lot of powerful financial interest in the military-industrial complex that are associated with the Fox News folks. So that's one reason why that's the main reason why the Republicans do not want this story to come out and why Fox News does not want to touch this story. The reason the Democrats, of course, do not want to touch this story is because all this happened under the Obama administration. And it goes directly to Obama and Leon Panetta. It goes directly to them and the rules of engagement. Because the soldiers that were killed that night were killed because of the rules of engagement, which said that you cannot fire on a possible target, enemy combatant, unless they fire on you first. So, as we know that night, the AC-130 gunship, which we're told was not there, which actually was there, that AC-130 gunship saw these individuals preparing to strike that chopper with a shoulder-fired grenade. They were not allowed to fire because of the rules of engagement. And so they had to do a cover-up. And this is what that is all about. So, this would reflect very badly on Obama, on Panetta, and peoples in the Obama administration who were responsible for those horrible rules of engagement. Now, I think that we've modified a lot of those rules now, so that I don't think we still do that, hopefully, because if so, these types of rules of engagement will get a lot of people killed. Maybe that's why we see so many of our soldiers being killed in Afghanistan and Iraq and other places, is because of these insane rules of engagement, which I can quite honestly tell you that when I was in the military back in the 80s, if someone would have dropped these rules of engagement on us or anyone in our command, we would have laughed hard. We would have thought it was a joke. Honestly. You know, even when we were pulling guard duty on the border between East and West Germany, even when we were pulling guard duty around our facilities, which was a nuclear facility, we were carrying live rounds, and we had authorization to tell, a combatant, even if they really weren't even armed. We would tell them if they were approaching our nuclear facility, we would tell them once to halt, we would tell them twice to halt, and the third time we'd plug them. That was our rules of engagement. So to believe that these guys are operating in combat zones with enemy on the ground, and you have to wait for them to shoot at you before you can shoot back, is absolutely insane. Okay, so anyway, getting back to where I was, this is why the Republicans and Democrats, and why the left and so-called right-wing Fox News media does not want to touch this story, because it will have a devastating negative impact on Republicans, Democrats, and the Oversight Committee who conducted the cover-up, as well as the military-industrial complex, the Pentagon, the Army, the Navy. It's really bad PR for everybody, and possible even legal consequences. I don't know. But it certainly is not a political story that you want to have to deal with. And it will all reflect on the Obama administration. It has nothing to do with Trump. Now, there's a second reason why you're probably not seeing some of this pop up, and that is because this interview that was done with Sara Carter of Circa News, this whistleblower, is, in fact, by coming out and doing this interview, she is, of course, releasing classified information. She's putting herself in legal jeopardy. She could go to jail for doing this video with Sara Carter. It looks like that her conscience got to her, and she's willing to roll the dice and risk going to jail in order to get the truth out. Now, the reason why we probably haven't seen the video showing up on ABC, NBC, CBS, any of the networks, any of the cable channels, or any of their online affiliates is because there's probably a lot of legal issues. Because, again, this is the disclosing classified information. And to show the video, the interview with Sara Carter and this pilot on the AC-130 gunship, who is the whistleblower, to show this video right now might create some problems with the fact that it is classified information, illegal to be disclosed, and so there's probably some of these networks may be trying to do the story or what have you, but they're probably consulting with high-level executives in their news organizations, with the government, with the Attorney General, with the military, trying to find out what their legal obligations are, and how and when and how they go about putting this story out there. Because again, it's not gained traction yet. So I can only imagine that that's part of it. And of course, there's also the financials of it, which is, the money. How much money are you going to pay us to let you run this interview? Circa News is obviously wanting to get paid. So these are probably the reasons why we haven't seen this pop up on the network or cable news sites, including Fox News or anywhere else. Now, the person who is most likely to get after this story, even though he's a lover of the military-industrial complex, he's a lover of the Pentagon and all things military, is Sean Hannity. And it's because Sean Hannity has kind of a regular segment with Sara Carter of Circa News, because she's been all over this Obama surveillance story, the same story I'm covering in Towergate. So Sean Hannity has regular interaction with Sara Carter, and that is probably why I know he's aware of this story. So what I'm asking all of you to do who are watching this video is to contact Sean Hannity. Very, very simple to do. I'm providing a link in the description. All you got to do is click on it. It will take you right to the page. Type in your name, your email address, the city you live in, and you can type in a message there. And I would encourage you to type in a message to Sean Hannity and let him know that you want him to cover this story. Let him know that you want him to cover the Extortion 17 cover-up story, or the Sara Carter's interview with the whistleblower of Extortion 17, however you want to word it. Just let Sean Hannity know you want him to cover this story. Now again, I think that he would come under great pressure if he tried to cover this story on his TV show. But he has a little bit more leeway on his radio show. I'm sure he knows about this story. My guess is he probably has his attorneys trying to figure out whether or not how they go about running the story, if they can run the story to avoid getting into legal trouble themselves. So we just want to give Sean a little push, because he isn't going to want to do this story. Because again, he loves the military-industrial complex, the Army and the Navy, and he knows this is going to reflect very badly on them. But ultimately, it's a big story. They can't keep it down forever. And again, I think once all the details get worked out, this story is going to gain traction and get out there. So if you haven't watched my video on Extortion 17, the cover-up, the whistleblower, hey, Jason Chaffetz, call your office, then you may want to watch that video. I'll provide a link in the description to that first video. This is a follow-up to it. And please click on that link and send Sean Hannity a message and let him know you want him to cover this story. Let him know that you want him to have Sara Carter on, and so she'll show some excerpts of that interview or talk about this whistleblower. This is a major story, and it's an important story, because if our troops are still operating in these dangerous places underneath these types of rules of engagement, it's suicidal. If you have friends, family members serving in the military, this is the best thing in the world you could do for them to help save their life, because if they're operating under these types of rules of engagement, their life is seriously in danger. So, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Please click on that link to Sean Hannity. Check out the Piper Report and watch my previous video if you want the full details. Or you can just go to the Freedom Watch website. You can go to the Piper Report. He also has the full video of it there. And any of these sources will fill you in on this story and let you know what's going on. Very important to do so. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.